Yeah, Bryson. What'd you think of the overall effort tonight? Y'all jumped off to a big start. Is that kind of what y'all were hoping for?
Yes, the focus has been just creating our own energy every day, and this week has been a testimony to that. So every day we've approached it with creating our own energy at practice, even when things get hard at practice. So just the guys creating our own energy and taking it serious and bringing the intentional focus to the preparation to this game is beautiful. And I'm proud of each one of them in the locker room because they deserve it, how they handled it.
Bryson, it seemed like pass rush integrity, maintaining and keeping the quarterback in the pocket was a problem in the first half. Was that something y'all talked about at halftime? Something y'all are going to plan on improving for when you face Jaron Hall and BYU next week?
Yes, we had to make adjustments, but I think that it's just a compliment to our defensive line and how unstoppable they are on the inside as far as the run defense. And the quarterback, he didn't have time to throw, so he had to get out and escape. And we didn't. We assumed that he was going to do that throughout the week, but he made a decision pretty fast, and our adjustment at halftime, we made that and we stuck to it, and I think we contained them pretty well towards the second half. Yeah.
Bryson, just take us through the strip and on the fumble recovery there on that play. Obviously, put you guys in a really good spot.
Yeah. So just dropping in coverage and looking for my final three player, and I saw him out there. So me and Al Walcott, we practice vice tackling every day throughout the week. So he did his job as far as going and keeping leverage on the runner. So I just came in and was aggressive and was trying to get the ball out. And I think it's pretty cool because we started this week. In the camp, jackers and robbers, something Coach Caleb Collins has started, and it's for our defense, man. Just turnovers and interceptions, hits, strips, fumbles, just rewarding guys throughout the week for doing that. So just taking it serious and having to practice at that all week was something that came up in that situation, just getting the ball out.
Bryson, you got a new jersey number there. Can you tell us a little bit about the number 7 and how all that came about?
Yes, I really want to represent our team as far as I knew what the single digits meant for us, and as a leader in this program, I want to be able to, use this number as representation as strength and hard work, and being on special teams and doing that consistently every time is something that's a part of my role here, and I just want to be able to show the effort and the integrity on that team as far as my role for defense as well. So it's just, being able to represent our team with this number means a lot. And, the hard work is going to be what pays off for it. So.
Yeah, Bryson, what'd you make of Blake's performance today? It just seemed like he was really confident back there.
Yeah, so, Blake has been working his tail off, especially throughout camp, through spring ball and fall camp. He took it to another level. And I think tonight showed that. So just the confidence that he had with his receivers, the work that he put in after practice and before practice with those guys, man, it showed up today. And we got to see a lot of incredible passes that were in play. And I think that's just the surface level of what he can do. And we're going to see a lot coming up these next few weeks.
Blake, you obviously came out very hot. Did you feel like you were in a good groove all night? And just how did it feel to connect with your receivers?
Yeah, I felt good all night. A huge testament to the receivers and all the guys around me, the O-line, everyone that made that possible. And being able to start fast like we did and limit all the little mistakes like penalties and things like that early on helped us. So, yeah.
Blake, can you talk about that touchdown run there at the end of the half? You got close on that one run, and then, you had a long way to run to get around that right end there.
Yeah. I knew it was a 2-minute situation. We drove down the field. I think there was, I don't know how many seconds. I know it was our last play, so I either had to throw it in the end zone somewhere, me take off and run, and they did good on the back end, and so I had to take off and run and make a play.
Blake, with this passing game, what are the possibilities with this? Today was a good example for you to kind of work with your receivers in the first half, but what can you think that this passing game can do moving forward?
I think tonight was just a glimpse of what y'all see in the future. I feel like it was good for some of our guys, and especially me, to get out there and be able to touch the ground again and be able to play again, and taking shots down the field and things like that. You'll definitely see in the future, and the intermediate game and stuff like that too. So just all the above. So we just got to keep working and get better at it. Yeah, just a play action pass, fell in wide zone, and the safeties came down real low and just threw it over the top.
Blake, seemed like early last year the focus was obviously really just implementing wide zone in those kind of basic plays. Seemed like this game y'all were really working on a lot of different formations, a lot of different personnel groupings. What was kind of the real plan for what y'all wanted to get out of this game offensively from everything y'all implemented in fall camp?
Yeah, I think wide zone still it's definitely the biggest part of our offense still, and I think that the play action game and things like that only come if we're running the ball well and we're doing the things that we need to do with wide zone. So that opened up everything downfield. So I would expect the same thing y'all are seeing right now. I wouldn't really expect anything crazy or anything but we're just going to come out and execute and do the things that we're told to do.
Blake in the back. Last year when you got your starts, it was either mid-game due to injury or you kind of week by week kind of preparation. With that full off season of knowing you were the guy, what were you able to do preparation-wise that made you feel maybe more confident game one than maybe even when you came into those spot starts?
Yeah, just being able to know that I'm going to be the guy and know that I'm going to be the one playing has helped a lot. Being able to get on the same page of the wide receivers and be able to spend more time with those guys. I spent time with them, and I knew everyone very well, but being able to get to know everyone on a deeper level and understand like who everyone really is as a person and things like that has helped me out a lot. So it goes beyond football, and so that's the main thing that we did in the off season is sit down with people that you might not have sat down with before and be able to get to know them in different ways. And so I think that has helped us grow and become more of a team and as a unit, and just building the chemistry outside of in the off season and things like that, understanding like these are the guys that are probably going to be playing and being able to get on the same page with them.
How surprised were you when that linebacker took a shot at you? Were you a little dazed after that?
Yeah, I had no idea. I literally handed it off and turned around and he smoked me. So I had no idea what was going on. I don't know what he was pleading that he thought I had the ball in my hand. So I've never seen that ever. So.
Blake, even having just wrapped up, what are the things you feel like could use immediate improvement offensively?
Everything really. I thought we played a good game tonight, but I feel like there's a lot of things that we can still improve on and maybe get lined up faster, or maybe me getting the ball out of my hands quicker and not taking the couple sacks that I took today. I think those are things that I need to work on, is getting the ball out maybe quicker than I did at a few moments today. And just everyone keep coming together collectively. We have a special team, and the only thing that can hurt us is if we drift apart and we're not a unit. And so I think us just growing together, it can take us a long way.
Blake, can you give us the PG version of what the coaches told you when you didn't slide, when you nearly got to the goal line, or were they happy that you kind of powered through there at the end?
It was a slight comment by Coach Belly, said probably get down next time.
Blake, when you look at that wide receiver core you had last year, Taekwon, who's in the NFL, Drew, who's on an NFL practice squad, and now the guys this year, what are those qualities you see in the receivers that you threw to tonight that maybe you're like, oh, this feels like Taekwon, this feels like Drew, this feels like those guys?
Yeah, I think everyone has their own, spice or whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't compare any of these guys to any of the guys from last year because everyone's different. And I think y'all saw today that we have guys with speed and that can move and can get down the field. And so I think they did a great job tonight, and I'm so proud of them.
Hey, it's good to see you guys. Proud of the team. I look back at January, kind of starting with that first team meeting, and guys sitting in the front row of our little auditorium there, and I could see it on their faces that it was like unnatural for them to sit there, because that's where Terrell Bernard sat, you know, or that's where Jalen Petrie sat. And now they're sitting in there, and you know, to move from that space right there to winter, where you're breaking everybody down, and early morning workouts, and you know, you're giving guys assignments in terms of leadership and maybe getting out of their comfort zone, putting themselves out there and all that, to spring football, to where you know, they're the guys that are saying something in the huddle if the feeling of the team isn't right, or if the energy isn't right, to summer, to fall camp, and to come out and attack this game the way we did. I just, you know, I think there's so many possible off ramps to not play at your best when, you know, you have a score like this, and to start the game and to end the game the way we did. Way proud of our team, way proud of our coaches, and speaks well to just the inner workings of all of it. So didn't, you know, to my knowledge, haven't had any injuries, so we're blessed with that. I thought, you know, for us to come out throwing the ball was something that we've worked on a lot in fall camp, and then for us to get the running game going in the second half was really good to see, and it was a halftime, you know, a halftime goal, and then defensively, I just thought time after time they were able to make stops and were able to tackle well. I think we were really concerned with that being the first game and tackling efficiently, and I thought they did. So with that, take any questions you guys got.
Dave, you kind of touched on it there, but was it intentional to, I mean, it seemed like it was mainly the passing game in the first half, and then you really focused on the run game in the second half.
Yeah, I think it was. You know, I think early on we're getting some 9-man fronts, and those safeties were way down at 8 yards and sometimes tighter than that. And then I think we were running into some dirty looks, and you know, we had some negative plays running the ball. And so we took advantage of that with some of the shot plays that came off of it, and I think that eventually loosened it up. The score probably had something to do with that too in the second half, but it was good to get the running game going.
Coach in the back, how would you assess Blake's play in his first game as the guy at quarterback?
Yeah, I think Blake is one of the things I appreciate about Blake is that he's very understated and not a lot of drama with him. Probably the most drama is what's on his head, you know, with his mohawk and all that. And outside of that, you know, there's not a whole lot happening. It's just very just Joe Cool with all of it. And so, you know, in terms of his studying, you know, the guys that have been up to his spot just talk about how there's writings on the wall and there's paper all over the place, kind of a beautiful mind thing. And I think he does all of that without really making a thing of any of it. And, you know, all that translates into practice, and that practice translated in the game. I just love the way he goes about it. You know, there are some situations in the game where he had to sit in and take, you know, hits that were right, you know, they were kind of right there, and he got up each time and did it again, and the whole team saw that. And so I think, you know, there was Blake Shapen before the game, and now there's Blake Shapen after the game. I think that will only continue to grow.
Dave, what is it that you see in Monterey Baldwin's skill set that says to you and your staff, he can be such an explosive player for us? Was it what he did in the Sugar Bowl, or was it just something that's developed so that what he did tonight with the 2 big plays?
Yeah, appreciate that. So, well, Monterey's very fast, but he's also got great quick twitch, and so that's rare sometimes that you have the top end speed, but you can get to it. You know, sometimes that's like long strides and all of it. Monterey can get to it fast, so like the 0 to 60, let's say. is really, really good there. And so I think, that just makes it way special when you can create some space and some grass. He can pull away from guys real quick. And then I think the other thing, too, is just, he wants to be good, and he works at it, and it really matters to him. And I think, there's times in fall camp where, we talk about being in the pit, so you start not knowing what you don't know, and then, you're coached up and you're learning something new, and you kind of fall into, we talk, conscious incompetence, and we call that the pit. And so there was a couple days he was in the pit, was just way hard on himself, probably too hard on himself. And I think he would tell you that. But, I mean, it means a lot to him. And so for him to, for Coach Baker to go down the pit with him, for them to both kind of come out and to have a showing like tonight, it's pretty cool.
Dave, it looked like Szymanski was kind of dejected after the game. Was that performance-based? Did you feel like the defensive line gave you what you expected tonight?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I thought they played well. I thought, initially the ball was kind of coming out quick. I thought there's a fair amount of gap runs, so, pullers and down blocks and angles and stuff, and thought he played all that great. The times that they did throw the ball, Apu's getting great push on their 5-0s and stuff, and so I thought he did great. I thought his effort was good. We played a lot of guys defensive line-wise, and so it's just way cool that can be the case, or one, that we have the ability to do that, and two, that they were all, when they got into the grass or on the grass, they were able to execute. So it speaks highly of that group.
Dave, obviously Gavin's had his injuries and had to wait a lot for his time. Just talk about what it meant to see that kind of play from him and what he could mean for you this year.
So cool. Yeah, so cool. I go through one-on-one meetings. I think I've got 2 more guys. I couldn't get it done prior to the start of this, the first game. But yeah, when I did Gavin, man, it's just like that story is just so crazy. And yeah, I mean, he's, I would hope that my son, my daughters kind of have the heart that he has, and just the awareness and the compassion that he has. It's just way impressive. And so you root hard for guys like that, right? And for him to have that opportunity, man, it's just so cool. It could not happen to a better dude.
How good can you guys be in the return game? Neighbors look good too.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he's, really fast. Mm-hmm. How big can that be for you?
I hope that that's a weapon for us. We talk about hidden yardage, and we talk about trying to attack on that phase of the game. I think when we look at the tape, there's going to be a lot of yards being gained by athleticism and quick decisions and instincts and all of it. I think for us to get to where it's a consistent kind of day or week in, week out weapon for us, we're going to have to tighten some things up. And I think for the first week, I think there's a lot to be excited about, but I think there's a lot of work to be done. And I think everyone on that unit would agree with that. But our mindset is to have that be a weapon for us for sure.
Coach, you talked a lot about focusing less on football and more on culture, and it looks like it paid off tonight. What did you do to make that change happen?
Oh, wow. No, I appreciate that question. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's, for sure you want to be intentional with that and have maybe programs or things that you say or things that you do, but that really needs to be like who you are, because people will see through that in trying times or in hard or difficult times. They'll see through it. And so I think it's way, it's like in the in-between. so there can't be like a mask that you take off because they'll see, and so, but that's, to not have a mask is hard to do because I think we're all used to having masks, and so it's kind of scary to not have one, and so, but I think that gives dudes courage that they don't maybe need one either, But what was way cool was we had so many guys playing, and if there's a guy on the kickoff team, there's chance on the sideline. If there's a guy on defense, there's chance on the sideline. Guy on offense, chance on the sideline. Everyone had their own chance, and so it was way cool. So you could feel the connection of the team. Thanks for the question.
Dave, you mentioned so many guys stepping up into leadership roles, a lot of new starters on both sides of the ball tonight. Was there any questions that you and your staff had about this team that was definitively answered with this win tonight?
That's a good one. Yeah, I think, we wanted to see guys make competitive catches, and they did. We wanted our skilled people to block on the perimeter, and they did. We wanted to see our young people, after they make a mistake, right, attack the next play. Really, we wanted to see our coaches, after our young people make a mistake, help them out the very next play, as opposed to whatever else, And then I think, you saw defensively the push that we could get in the quick throw game and the edges that we can set with the length on defense. And so those things, I think, were shown today.
Coach, in terms of that fourth quarter, the game's out of reach. You're up 40, maybe half the fans who started in the stadium are gone. How impressive is it that those guys were then able to harness some energy and have more points than Albany had yards in that final quarter?
Yeah, we try to practice that way. I think, at our practices, there's guys that are doing the all the yelling and the screaming. There's some fairly shrill screams that are happening on the sidelines behind all of us, and so that's been kind of commonplace. And and just the energy that kind of comes out. I think it's just part of kind of how we go about what we do now. And so, but I think this is probably another level, tonight. And so I think that has so much to do with it, because I think if it's, I look at, we're going to go on the road here this next week, and we've got a bunch of road games here coming up. And, obviously we love playing at home, and you can catch some energy here, right? There's not going to be a lot of positive energy for us to catch on some of these road games. We're going to have to create it, And so, practicing without music, and all this other thing, and just us creating it, I think is training for the places that we have to go.
Dave, I think about as a coach, you want to figure out when you want to peak in the season. You want to constantly grow. Coaches talk about wanting to be at their best in October and November. In other sports, it's easy to kind of look to the playoffs for when you want to be your best. But how do you go about figuring out the growth mindset for this season, getting y'all to where y'all want to be, but also making sure you're ready for BYU next week and being as best as you can be then?
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate that. I think you get to know your players and your coaches, and and see what they're capable of, and be real, and you can be compassionate about it, but be real about where they're at, and then kind of lean and nudge them to get to where they need to be, no matter what, right? No matter the wins or losses, or no matter what is on your phone or any of that. And so I think, there's, and then what's hard about that sometimes is that the guy doesn't, whoever the guy is, he does not see that about himself, but you do. And so you have to be creative and find ways to open that up so that he can. But I think if that's the process, then all the other stuff doesn't really matter. It's just kind of noise on the outside.